Hello, today we're going to be picking up on the continuation of the subject of Halloween and should Christians participate in it or not. We're going to go more in depth on the roots before what I touched on in the last video. If you haven't seen that last video, I urge you to do that. It'll be found in the playlist under Demonology 101. It is approximately the 15th video in the series. Originally, the Catholics and Greek Orthodox decided that they would integrate this day so that others in the Celtic religion would integrate within the church. They moved it from March the 13th until the time that we know of today, on October the 31st, and there are some that even practice from the 31st to the 2nd of November, depending upon which area of religious practices they have. The people that are into magic, witchcraft, and paganism celebrate and prepare all through the month of October. They fast and pray before their Sabbath happens. I want you to realize that this year the Sabbath or Halloween falls on a true Sabbath of the real one living God, and that is also a time which they believe is even more special for them in paganism. I'm going to look here and read to you the man's name. It was Boniface the Fourth, who was a pope back in 1609 AD, that tried to integrate this first, and it wasn't officially recognized until 1835 AD from Pope Gregory, and he enforced it universally for all religious churches. And I'm not going to use that term anymore, the word church, when it refers to them. And I'm going to put up a picture, and I want you to look at it, and I pray that the Lord reveals to you, if you haven't had things revealed to you, the true roots of that system. This was done once again to blend in the customs of the pagans into the religions that are called Christians. And I'm going to read a scripture to you out of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20, and it says, "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God, and I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils." And that is exactly what we see, the integration of the so-called Christians with the paganism that came from the Druids and the Celts. And sometimes they're referred back to even to Galatians. I'm going to do a deeper study into that and tell you whether it is or is not correct. But right now we're focusing on this part of Halloween and its roots. We know that the modern times we use masks, and they did too back then on Halloween, Hallows Eve, and they did it for many reasons. We see this today practiced with children and adults who have Halloween parties, and we also see this practiced in secret societies, and you can find many pictures of what I'm specifically talking about. I'm going to flash one up here for you to see. And these masks and or heads of deceased animals were used, and here's the reason why. One, for protection from demons or spirits, and also to identify oneself to something else so that they cannot be blamed for the acts they do while wearing it. This is also a form of contacting the unalived, so that those that are here on the day, which is considered the veil being thin to the underworld, to the dead, the spirit world, that they may contact those that are unalived that are loved ones and or spirits, demons, whichever one they're trying to contact. One for channeling and or for allowing them to inhabit their body during this period of time. Because you see, the Lord even himself says in the New Testament, or Jesus speaking, and it is spoken that these one time had a body, but have none no more, and they want to dwell in human flesh. And this is one time of the year that ignorant people and pagans allow this to happen, even if they wouldn't allow to do it any other time of the year. It is strictly forbidden for us to contact and or speak to the dead. And other people have arguments towards this. I'm not going to get completely into that right now, but we will do something on that line. And we as believers know that we must not play with the things of the enemy. When wearing these masks, they had mystical experiences with the spirits that told them information, such as modern day people do when they just go into a trance and ask for their guides to channel through them, and or even automatic write so that they'll have information. People that did this in the world, such as Tesla and Agnes Sanford, who was supposed to be a Christian, who wrote a book, and there are many Christian books on the shelves of Christian bookstores that have also been influenced by automatic writing. It is very important to know where your sources come from. Just because it says Christian does not mean it is. That is another subject, the fact, can a Christian be a witch? But today we'll continue upon this. Times of Halloween, there was also a practice called bonfires that we sometimes have today, but we don't consider the roots of it. So the roots of the word bonfire is bone fire. And the reason why it was considered bone fire, they would throw the bones of those that had been unalived through sacrifice and also from animal sacrifices and crops upon this pile to be burned during that night. And it was also done for protection, for knowledge, and other reasons, as well as fertility. And you can also find another video that I guess Courtney did. It was concerning the Wicker Man. And this is a night in which the Wicker Man was used, and they used children and women and men as well inside of the Wicker Man. And I'm going to explain to you how those people were chosen sometimes. You and I are familiar, or mostly familiar, with a little children's chant that goes something like this. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by its toe. And I'm not going any further with that. This was known back then as eeny, meeny, miny, me. Or eeny, meena, mona, may. Which means eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And this was how they chose the children who were going to be used in that sacrifice during that time. So you see, there's a lot of things that has integrated into society that people are unaware, and they're foolishly using as childish things. These kids, which is another term used, I'll get into later, were used for these sacrifices willingly. They came because they thought it was something that they were supposed to do, because in their religion, the Celtic religion, it taught that whenever you were unalived, your soul lived on forever. And there are forms of it also that taught reincarnation. Not all of them believe that, but they had no fear because they thought they were just going to earn something in the spirit world. I'm going to stop right here, and we will continue in part 3. Join me, please, part 3 of the Halloween roots, and if Christians should participate. God bless you.